Okay, hello everyone and welcome to the webinar. I'm your host, Dr. Daniel, and today we're going to be discussing 4 simple steps to reducing your fatigue and increasing energy as soon as even next week. Now, I want to wait just a little bit to let people get onto this webinar before we get started. You know, there's always people that are running a little late, and I know there's a lot of excitement for this webinar. I've been getting a lot of emails, a lot of messages on Facebook and Twitter. All the social medias, everybody's contacted me and just asking questions about it. So I know that there's a lot of people that are excited, and I just want to make sure that we give everybody a chance to actually hear what I've got to say. So we're just going to wait a few more seconds before we actually get started. And on that note, I really am happy that all of you are here. And I promise that I'm not going to be holding anything back. I'm going to be sharing with you some valuable health gems that I know can radically change your life. The information that I'm about to share has impacted hundreds of people that I've personally treated and thousands more that I've never personally met, but I know have taken action on some of the protocols and programs that I put together, and they are now living amazing lives. I want you to know that all of that is possible if you take action on the information that I'm about to share with you. So my promise to you is that I'm going to show you exactly how to increase your energy and slash your fatigue so you can enjoy more time with your family and your friends and never have to wake up tired or miss out on any fun activities ever again. In fact, if you stay until the end, I'm going to be giving you one of my most popular guides, the 7 Steps to Better Sleep. Hundreds of my patients have told me that this guide alone has helped them to dial in on their sleep and optimizing their rest and recovery. But before we begin, I need your attention. Please turn off your cell phones, stay off social media sites just for the remainder of this webinar. So don't check on your, don't go onto Facebook, don't be checking your Instagram. Look, if you're someone who has low energy or you currently experience fatigue, then please take this serious so you can actually get the results that you know you deserve. Look, we've all been to the gym, right? Or maybe we've all taken a class, and there's always 2 types of people that you'll see at these places. The first is that person who shows up but doesn't participate. They don't ask questions or don't even bother to learn how to use the machines or take advantage of all the information that's being presented. Then you've got the other person who actually shows up, asks how to use the equipment, right? They want to know all the extra training sessions. When are they happening? When's the extra tutoring occurring? They want to know when everything is taking place. So who do you think is actually going to get more out of it? Of course, the second person. So let's all commit to staying engaged during this time that we're sharing, and let's commit, more importantly, to taking action. Okay? All right. Now, who am I? Well, my name is Dr. Daniel, and I'm a functional medicine physician in Austin, Texas. I have a Bachelor of Science degree in biology, chemistry, and nursing. I have postgraduate training in neuroscience and biochemistry, and I was actually about a year away from getting my PhD when I decided that I didn't want to work in a lab or be a lab rat anymore. And in fact, really what happened was that I started to observe that my entire family, even though they were getting sick, and even though they were taking all the drugs that their doctors told them to take and following all their doctor's advice, they just weren't getting any healthier. So I realized that the same products that I was actually helping to create in a lab was not actually translating to creating health out in the real world. And that's when I became passionate, even obsessed with the body's ability to heal itself. So I left my graduate program in pursuit of a doctorate in chiropractic medicine. And since then, I've become a certified functional medicine physician, and I've been published in numerous health and trade journals. I currently operate one of the largest natural health centers in Central Texas. And today, a large part of my practice is actually dedicated to treating people with chronic fatigue and low energy. And I can honestly say that at first, it was the biggest obstacle that I've ever experienced as a doctor, treating fatigue and low energy. And this is what brings us here today, really, is that I've spent the last several years studying fatigue, low energy, and what it actually takes to overcome it. And that's exactly what I want to be sharing with you tonight. But that's enough about me. Let's talk a little bit about you. Imagine what your life is going to be like when you have so much energy that you start enjoying your time with family and friends again. What would your life be like when you never have to feel bad about coming home and not having the energy to play with your kids? Or how about never having to worry about waking up tired when you've got a full day ahead of you? What would life be like when you finally know what's causing your fatigue and, more importantly, how to get rid of it? Would that make a difference for you or your family? What do you think would happen if 3 weeks from now, 3 months from now, or 3 years from now, your energy levels dramatically increased? What would that do for you in terms of productivity, both personally and professionally? What would that mean for you in terms of exercise and physique? What would it mean for you in terms of your job and the output and the things that it could end up giving to you 10 years from now? I know that it can make a dramatic difference, and I know this because I've personally consulted with over 12,000 people and I've seen it happen. Here's what Jill had to say. No doubt, fatigue becomes daunting to live with. But thanks to Dr. D, he took my lack of motivation and doubts away with sound advice and the help I needed. He covered everything I needed to get well, and I am now in a completely different place mentally and physically, and Dr. D had such a big hand in that. I don't know what I would have done without his knowledge, advice, and help. Even though we have never met, Dr. D has a special place in my heart. Thank you. Now here's another one, Sandra, who was actually already fighting breast cancer prior to us meeting. And so she started experiencing serious fatigue from her breast cancer, and here's what she has to say. When I found Dr. D, I was already midstream in my healing process with breast cancer. By the time I met him, my energy was completely zapped and I had no other options. I had done every diet, all the detoxes, the de-stressing and therapy, but I still needed to do more. With Dr. D's help, I followed a protocol which resulted in success. He is a kind, gentle, healing soul with so much knowledge. And then there's somebody like Debbie. And Debbie is someone who actually knew a lot about natural medicine and healing prior to us working together, but she was always overwhelmed with all the information and never knew how to organize it properly. Here's what she has to say. The 4 essentials that Dr. Daniel laid out for me have positively impacted my life. I became so aware of the basic elements like reducing my toxic exposure and learning about easy saliva and urine tests to improve my health and actually see his methods working. Because of Dr. Daniel, I am remarkably happier, healthier. I can never thank him enough for such a transforming effect on my life. He is the best. Now, the reality is that I have hundreds of these testimonials, and I don't show them to make myself look good. I show them because I want you to know that it's possible. In fact, any patient of mine knows that I never take credit when someone gets well. And I hear it all the time. You know, the thank yous. People come up to me or they write in on Facebook or emails and they say, thank you for helping me. And I'm really quick to respond by saying, no, thank yourself. You see, you are your best doctor. And I won't ever take credit when you get better, but I also won't take credit when you don't. And I think that that's an important understanding here is that results are not typical. And the reason why, I can walk you through the system that we're using to get the results that I get with patients, but understand that anything worthwhile takes effort. So please understand that my results are not typical because the average person who attends any training, they get 0 results because the truth is, most people are simply not willing to take action. However, I'm happy to share with you for free exactly what works for these people. And if you take action, I promise you that you're not going to regret it. So this is not just some health infomercial that promises the whole world. What this is an opportunity for anyone interested in increasing their energy and vitality in a sound and proven way. In fact, I'm going to be laying out for you 15 specific reasons that must absolutely be addressed if you're experiencing low energy or fatigue. And even though we won't have a chance to get into every single one and go into detail, I'm going to be sharing with you some very important information that I know can have a dramatic difference in how you're feeling. So let's get started. Let's get right into it. Here's what we're going to be covering. Secret number 1. First, we have to address the big elephant in the room, which is foundational health principles. Secret number 2, absolutely start addressing any sort of nutritional or hormonal deficiencies that you may have. Now, 60 to 70% of my patients will actually get better when they address secret number 1 and secret number 2. But there are many more who never get to improved energy because they're failing to address secret number 3. And secret number 3 is all about addressing toxicities and chronic infections. This will get close to 80% of the population back to health, and their fatigue will finally go away. The other 10 to 20% will need to address secret number 4, which is brain boosting protocols and the all-important energy producing bacteria that you must absolutely feed to increase your energy. So let's start with secret number 1, the elephant in the room. I like discussing the elephant in the room because it's exactly what solves the problem for almost 40% of my chronic fatigue patients alone. Now, what is an elephant in the room? The elephant in the room is that thing that everyone knows is present, but simply ignores it or doesn't want to consider it. And when it comes to fatigue or low energy, the elephant in the room is absolutely beginning with the basics, or what I call foundational health principles. So secret number 1 is foundations of health. Now, I realize that many of you already have a solid foundational health program. And all that means is that you've got to continue addressing the other factors that we're going to be discussing shortly. But that said, and after successfully treating over 10,000 people with fatigue, I absolutely know that many people are simply skipping this step. The 5 most common factors that are missed include sleep, dehydration, food toxins, lack of exercise or movement, and not addressing emotional stress or traumas. So again, if you want to reverse your fatigue and dramatically increase your energy levels, then we need to fix your sleep, your dehydration, we need to eliminate food toxins, and install an emotional health building program. Now, this is the first 5 steps out of 15 in total that need to be addressed if you're serious about fixing your fatigue or increasing overall energy. Kelly was someone who struggled with fatigue every day. She would wake up tired, go to work tired, and then at night try to fall asleep tired, but was never able to fully recover during her night's sleep. So she spent thousands of dollars trying to figure out the cause of her sleep problems. She did sleep studies, hormone tests, she took all sorts of vitamins and visited different types of specialists with absolutely no resolution to her fatigue. And it wasn't until she took a step back and really did an inventory in her basic health program that she discovered her problems. Again, my point here is that oftentimes many of my patients discount the simple stuff. They just don't do it. So skipping this step can cost you so much money, effort, and time. So if you experience low energy or fatigue, my suggestion or first action step for you is to start to take an inventory of your current health program. Ask yourself, are you doing the basics, right? The minimum that's required in order to improve your health. Are you optimizing your sleep cycles? Are you staying hydrated and avoiding any toxins in your foods? Are you working on improving your movement, or at least getting the minimum amount of movement that humans require to be healthy? And finally, are you addressing any emotional traumas or hidden stressors that could be draining your energy? Now, here's 2 more examples of people that I've worked with. Caitlin says, "Who would have thought that using plastic could cause fatigue and low energy? I stopped using plastic a few weeks ago, and now I feel so much better." Bill was someone who struggled with depression, and he says that just a few tweaks in his health plan, and he's now feeling so much better. How cool is that? Just some simple tweaks in your basic foundational health plan, and you can start increasing your energy right away. Okay, moving on to secret number 2, nutrition and hormone deficiencies. Did you know that more than 90% of chronic disease and illness is related to nutrient deficiencies? Did you know that medical statistics state that close to 80% of women have hormonal imbalances that are never properly diagnosed? So after we address the elephant in the room and get our foundational health principles in check, the next 5 steps include addressing nutritional and hormone deficiencies. The specific steps in this area include 1. Nutritional deficiencies, 2. Balancing stress hormones, or also known as the adrenal glands, fixing metabolism hormones or your thyroid, fixing sex hormones, so things like estrogen and testosterone, and then finally addressing digestion. Again, to get into all of this is just too much for the purposes of this webinar. But if you're having fatigue or low energy, then these are the next steps that you should consider for getting better. There was a time when nutrient deficiencies were not an issue for humans. But because of changes in our diet and stress, we live in a time where we must replace these nutrients. Otherwise, we suffer the consequences of ill health, including fatigue. Rachel was a perfect example of this, and here's what she had to say. "I used to wake up after 8 hours of sleep and just feel awful. The fatigue was heavy on my eyelids, and my legs, they were like heavy sandbags. After hitting the snooze button a few times, I would bury my face into my pillow and tell myself, okay, time to get up, let's do this, you can do this. Eventually I got out of bed and immediately became lightheaded. I knew that by the time I got to work, I'd be a bit better, but only until 3 o'clock when my energy began to crash again. And I had to push through the brain fog and the fatigue once more. I had my stress hormones checked by other doctors, but I guess they just missed it. I'm thankful that you helped me to figure this out. Action step number 2 is getting to the bottom of your nutritional deficiencies and/or hormone imbalances. Another thing to consider here is that if you've been tested, was it done properly? Unfortunately, it's all too common for people to visit a doctor and get a lab test, but it's not the best test, or the doctor simply doesn't know how to interpret the results properly. I've personally taken care of hundreds of people who were told that they were normal based on their labs, and it actually turned out that they were far from it. Rachel was an example of someone who had visited her doctor, had an adrenal test and thyroid test performed, and she was told that she was fine. However, after explaining to her how it all really worked, she determined right away what her major problems were and could now begin to correct them. Last month, she sent me a message saying this: "A fog has lifted. Stress hormones are in check, and thank you." All right, let's move on to secret number 3, addressing toxins and infections. Remember, 60 to 70% of people with chronic fatigue in general, or low energy, will get better by addressing secret number 1 and number 2. But if you address these 2 components and still experience problems with energy, then we need to move on to the next step, which is identifying toxins and infections. A big problem that I see with the population is that most people who think or feel that they're tired are actually just toxic. And when I say toxic, I'm referring to the 85,000 different chemicals that have been poured into our environment since World War II. Many of these chemicals are known to cause health problems, and some people are more sensitive than others. In addition to the toxic chemicals that we now find in our food supply, or the personal cosmetic products and household chemicals that we use daily, there are chronic viral, bacterial, or parasitic infections that we're facing. And these infections cause your body to lose its energy, much like when you get the flu. Only these types of infections are not actually causing you to be really feverish or ill or have any major symptoms other than the low energy or debilitating fatigue that you know you're experiencing. Addressing toxicity or toxic load in humans, including chronic or latent infections, is an often missed and largely unrecognized factor when it comes to low energy and fatigue. Even when doctors try to address it, they simply tell their patients to do a juice fast or a cleanse. But I'm going to tell you that's not going to cut it. To truly detox your body, you've got to know, 1, what are you toxic with? And number 2, how do you eliminate it from your body? The top 5 factors in eliminating toxicities and chronic infections include eliminating mold toxicity, heavy metals and other environmental chemicals, healing gut infections or parasites. And sometimes we also have to consider electromagnetic frequencies. Now, when Sherry came to see me, she had pain and burning on the bottoms of her feet. Sleep problems, anxiety, depression, neck pain, low thyroid, muscle cramps, and headaches. Once we started treating the bacteria Bartonella that we found in her body, all of her symptoms improved, including her low energy. Action step number 3 is determining if you have any toxins or infections, and then, of course, successfully treating them. Remember, juice fasts or liver cleanse are not enough to treat your infections or eliminate toxins. And while they're very good actions to take, there are very specific steps that you should be taking, and depending on exactly what you're trying to eliminate, there are very specific protocols that you need to follow in order to actually achieve this step. Now let's talk about secret number 4. How to transform every cell in your body to become energy-producing factories. Did you know that every single cell in your body contains tiny little bacteria that actually help to create energy that you in turn use? These single-cell structures in biology are called mitochondria. They are known as the body's energy generators, or your body's powerhouses. We now know that mitochondria are responsible for creating more than 90% of the energy needed to sustain the human body. This includes growth and development from the time of infancy, bodily functions like digestion, cognitive processes, and maintaining cardiovascular health. Now, diet determines energy made in the mitochondria. So if we don't have an adequate supply of healthy fats, carbohydrates, and proteins to feed them, then we're going to experience fatigue. Again, this is why optimizing our diet from secret number 1, foundations of health, is so important. But taking this a step further, it's also important to know that diet alone will not solve a mitochondrial problem. There are very specific nutrients needed to repair the system. A good example of this was from my patient Frank. Frank was someone who was told that he had mold toxicity, he had mercury toxicity, and Lyme disease. Now, his energy improved as we treated each of these components, but once these issues were gone, he still didn't have the energy that I knew that he should have. So we did some advanced testing and found that his mitochondria actually needed to be repaired. And once we fixed this, his energy started to improve significantly. As you can see, Frank is saying that he's taking his supplements and feeling great. And at the time of this message, he went for a full day of golf and even had energy to go out that same night. So action step number 4 is to get your mitochondria tested. Again, there's no point in testing mitochondria unless you've addressed the previous 3 components: foundations of health, nutrient and hormone deficiencies, and then treating toxicities and infections. But if you've done all that and you're still experiencing low energy or fatigue, then this is the last step that you should absolutely look into in order to increase your energy. Quick question. Are all of y'all enjoying the webinar so far? If so, just take a moment and write something down in the comment section and just let me know. Just tell me if you're digging the information so far. Okay, cool. Okay, yes, it's great. John says he's learning a lot. He's loving it. Richard says loving it. Gail says thank you. Thumbs up. Awesome. Okay, great. Okay, I'm glad y'all are enjoying it. Let's actually recap. So far, we've talked about the 4 secrets to driving up energy. Secret number 1 is addressing the elephant in the room. Secret number 2 is fixing nutrient deficiencies and hormone imbalances. Secret number 3 is removing toxins and killing infections or parasites. And then secret number 4 is boosting your bacterial energy-producing mitochondria. Now remember, we only covered a very small portion of what is actually required to overcome fatigue. And I wish I could make it simple, but it's just not simple. In fact, there are 15 specific steps that anyone who experiences low energy or fatigue should go through in order to fully treat themselves. Here's a complete list of what is required. Addressing foundational health principles, which is sleep, hydration, food toxins, movement, and emotional stress. Then there's nutrition and hormone deficiencies, such as stress hormones, metabolic hormones like thyroid, sex hormones, nutrient deficiencies, and digestive health. Remember, 60 to 70% of people get better by addressing foundational health principles and deficiencies alone. But for those who don't get better, then we need to consider moving forward into addressing toxicity and chronic infections, and then mitochondrial dysfunctions. Here's how I like to explain it to patients. Addressing a few components to low energy and fatigue, like that we've discussed in this webinar, will help you. But imagine, if you had 15 screws or nails stuck in your foot, and we only removed or addressed 3 or 4, do you think you'd still have a problem? Of course you would. So the honest answer to solving your fatigue and low energy is addressing all the steps in an organized fashion. And this is exactly why I created the Wake Up Energized system. You see, I have spent the last 15 years gathering data, treating patients, figuring out what works and what doesn't work, and I decided to put all of this information into one source to make it easier for my patients to follow, because after spending hundreds of hours with individual patients, I realized that I could actually help more people if I just put this into one easy-to-follow program. So I created the Wake Up Energized system to help you to finally defeat your fatigue and dramatically increase your energy. Now, here's everything that you get with the Wake Up Energized system. A 15-module self-study course that goes much deeper on each of the 15 steps that you must absolutely go through to get over your fatigue. These modules contain high-resolution videos on the how and the why for each step, as well as a treatment plan and easy-to-follow action steps in order to get you through the entire system. In addition, I will also include my 15-week roadmap, which lays out exactly what to do over the next 15 weeks. And I created this because I've had so many people who said that they just wanted to plug in and follow an easy step-by-step program. So I now include this as part of the total package. You also get my advanced toxicity protocols, where I get into the 4 most common toxins that we completely ignore: heavy metals, viruses, and bacteria, parasites, and environmental pollutants. I will share with you how to test for these and, more importantly, how to eliminate them. Finally, I include my Wake Up Energized recipe manual, which contains dozens of delicious recipes that you can use throughout the entire program. Now, considering the amount of time that I've personally invested over the last 15 years learning, troubleshooting, and figuring all this out, the total value for this system is close to $2,000. But I've got something more for you. Not only does this system come with everything that I just discussed, but I'm also going to throw in a few special bonuses for early adopters. If you're ready to start feeling better, having more energy, and you want your life back, then purchase this program in the next few hours, and I'm going to give you 3 months of unlimited email support. This is one of my most popular services with existing patients because they basically have as much access to a functional medicine doctor as they want. And this bonus alone, I guarantee you, is going to be worth your time and, more importantly, your health. Now, if you only got that, if you only got the 3 months of unlimited email and text support to ask as many health questions about diet, exercise, supplements, testing, anything that you want regarding your health, basically, I'm going to be your personal concierge doctor to help optimize your health and vitality. Would it be worth it? Is your health worth it? Well, what if on top of that, you were getting something even more? This leads me to bonus number 2. For everyone who buys right now, you're going to get my Habits of Success journal. This is an entire training program that I put into one manual that I've given to highly successful individuals who have taken the information in this bonus and completely transformed their personal and professional lives. If you're going to be successful, paying for a program is not enough. True change actually comes from commitments and change of habits. So I know that this bonus will help to equip you with the tools necessary to actually follow through and successfully beat your fatigue, but also any other health problems that you may be experiencing. Okay, I want to ask you guys another question. So you've probably been on these kinds of webinars in the past, right? You get excited, you get all fired up, and then what happens the next day? Probably nothing, at least for most of you. And it's sad because I've just showed you guys the exact same system that I'm using right now that over 10,000 people have used to defeat their fatigue and increase energy so they can enjoy more time with their family and friends. But chances are, if you're like most people, you're just going to wake up tomorrow and do nothing. The reason why is because old habits, they're hard to break. You're going to go back to your office tomorrow. You're going to be following the exact same routine and the exact same habits that you did today. Honestly, the only way that you're really going to be successful is if you figure out a way to break that habit right now. And the way that you're going to break that habit is by investing in this program and making a decision to change your ways. Now, I can come here and I can help you by giving you all the tools you need to break those old habits so you can become successful in your health endeavors. If you don't want to do that, then you're just going to slide back to your old habits. And everything that we did for the last 20 to 30 minutes here is going to be completely useless because you just go back to those old ways. Or we can break the cycle. You see, the only way to get something you've never had is to do something you've never done. And all I want for you is to experience what so many of my patients are already experiencing: greater energy. I know information alone is not enough. Now, for the last several minutes, I've shared a ton of information with you, but as you know, information alone is not going to save you. You need this program to finally defeat your fatigue because that's what's going to help you to get back on track and get to the next level in overcoming it and driving up your energy. And on top of all that, I've got another bonus to make sure that you get the absolute best value that I can offer. So bonus number 3 is going to be a one-on-one consult with myself. My flat rate for one-on-one consults is $495 per hour. And to ensure that you get the most out of this program on a personalized one-on-one level, I'm giving you this consult completely free so that way I can give you the most that I can possibly give. So once again, not only are you getting the 15-module self-study course, the 7-week roadmap, my advanced toxicity protocols, all the Wake Up Energized recipes, you're also going to get bonus number 1, which is unlimited email and text support for 3 months. You get bonus number 2, which is my highly sought after Habits of Success journal that's going to help you to break your old habits and replace them with positive, successful ones. You're also going to be getting bonus number 3, which is a one-on-one consult. And altogether, this brings the entire program up to a value of over $3,000. And the good news is that you're not going to be paying that amount today. For a limited time and only for a limited number of people, I've got a special for you. The good news is that you can get started today for only $147. The bad news is that I cannot keep the price at this level for too long. So I'm limiting this promotion to only 20 people. Why? Because I value my time and my work. And there's obviously only so much time during the week, and I pour my heart and my soul into every single person that I meet with. So this offer is only good for the next few hours and only for a few select people ready to take charge. Look, the reality is that there's two types of people who show up on these webinars. And I know because I do these all the time. Right now, there's the timid, nervous person who gets on here and they think it's really cool and it all makes sense and they want to do it, but they just don't take action. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't like working with people like that. Those people, they're just never successful. And while I want them to be, I can't do it for them. And so I'm not willing to lose my time over it. The people that I like to work with are people like us. They get on this webinar and they hear it and they understand it and they decide to step up and they want to produce, and boom, they get out here and they get the results and make things happen. So I'm going to be asking you guys, which one are you? Are you the person on the left or are you the person on the right? You see, the person on the left is the person who probably just quit inside their head already and even left the webinar. And I'm not here to make fun of anyone or make anyone feel bad, but I'm also not here to sugarcoat anything. So if you're ready to take massive action in your life and to do some cool stuff for your body and to change your life for the better, if you want to join us, then let's do this. It's only $147 and you can sign up now by simply clicking the link. And as soon as you sign up, you're going to get immediate access to the program and you can start the course right away. And everything that you need to drive up your energy and finally defeat your fatigue is within this program. You know, I'm so confident in this program that I'm even going to be giving you a 30-day test drive. And if you go through all the modules, if you've completed every single section and watched all the videos and follow every single recommendation that I have for you, and you don't get the results that you want, I will refund your money 100%, no questions asked. So it's completely risk-free for you, and you still get to get all the bonuses. I mean, seriously, I cannot give you any more value than that. Once again, you can get started today for only $147. And remember, I cannot keep the price at this level for too long. So I'm limiting this promotion to only 20 people for a limited amount of time. Now, I promised that anyone who stayed to the end would get my 7 Steps to Better Sleep manual. So here's the link where you can go and get it. All you have to do is navigate to this webpage and download it. Look, I hope all of you really enjoyed the webinar, and I thank you for your time, and I truly hope that we can have a one-on-one consult really soon, because then that means that you've made the right decision to purchase this program and get your energy back. You deserve to feel great, and I can't wait to start working on getting you where you deserve to be when it comes to having unlimited energy and vitality. Okay, friends, good night for now, goodbye, and I really hope that we get to talk to you soon.